Hey guys, it's Krystal Lucier here, also known as your home sweet home 519 Realtor, Krystal Moore, and this is Realtor Life. Guys, we have a treat for you today. We are being joined today by Ron O'Neill, and so pumped. Ron, you'd say that you are a researcher of
Yeah,
AI?
you know what I always say? I'm more of a student to the technology because it's moving so fast.
Okay.
And but the basis of my company, AI Intelligence Solutions, is we do research on the fast-moving pace of artificial intelligence in the world, but mainly in the real estate space, because that's kind of my lane.
Amazing, amazing. So I was very lucky. Royal LePage Thailand, Peter Meyer brought in Ron O'Neill to speak to us at our kickoff last fall. And at the time, I don't know if you recall, you probably do tons of presentations, Ron, but at the time, it was a very exciting moment because AI had like just learned how to create words in pictures.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so it was like if you said make a sold sign, it actually said sold, not like foot.
Yeah, it was interesting because you think about this, the Achilles heel to picture making was text, and you kind of think of that. That's kind of strange because when creating a face or the hair on the head would be harder, but it was actually text itself. But you know what was interesting about that? When I did research into this, it was fascinating when I found out we as humans, we've been actually teaching AI how to identify and create images for years and years. And we
Is it
didn't
for
know it.
through CAPTCHA?
Exactly. That's what it was, right? Because it was basically,
I
you put
swear I'm not a robot.
yeah,
Screw it.
yeah. So that's interesting. And but the one thing that it wasn't being trained on was text. And when that breakthrough came through, it was huge because now we
Yeah,
can create, our social media posts for real estate,
yeah,
targeting downsizers, seniors and stuff like that, first time home buyers with those captions in
yeah.
those memes, which is really great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. And the other thing I remember that you introduced me to, which he is, I would call him a friend now, is Claude.
Yes. Claude is one of, it's interesting. So I want to make sure as we go through this that everybody understands what we're going to be talking about
Yes,
different AI systems, and Claude is one of those AI systems. And a really interesting story behind Claude is that it's designed by a company called Anthropic.
Anthropic, right? Yes.
So what was interesting, the people, a lot of the CEOs and executives that came to Anthropic, they were actually originally from OpenAI. So who is OpenAI? OpenAI is actually who built out ChatGPT that we all
Right.
know. I call it the Kleenex of the world is the ChatGPT.
Yep.
But why a lot of them have moved away from OpenAI to Anthropic to build out Claude is because they wanted to build out a safer system. Now, I'm not saying that ChatGPT isn't safe,
Right.
but they had different core values compared to what OpenAI has. So I always, when I talk to parents about which system should my kids be using, Claude is definitely one of the more safer ones to
Yep.
use out there. One of the ones I don't recommend is Grok. If you don't know what Grok is, that
I
is
know
actually
that.
from Elon Musk. So
Oh,
it's kind of, I would say, the perfect one word to call it. It's unhinged. So
okay.
it doesn't have as many barriers or safety mechanisms in it. So that's why I definitely would
Yeah.
promote Claude, the Claude system, from Anthropic.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm loving it. So as a realtor and a business owner, I've used it. I started out kind of like everyone to be like, what can this thing do? And so
Yeah,
I find, and all of these systems I find, for better or worse, are great assistants,
there.
not great replacements. So because we still have to edit, we still have to review, we still have to make sure that while we're talking about the sprawling foyer, that there is a sprawling foyer.
Yeah. And that's what I always say, it's called human in the loop, as I call it,
Yes,
make
yes,
sure
I love
that
that.
and the other thing is that when you're using AI, I have a kind of a very simple statement: always review, edit, and humanize every single output that's
Yes.
going out there. Because the whole thing is that we're going to become dependent on this technology, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. But the whole thing, at the end of the day, we have a fiduciary duty as realtors that any output that we're putting out there, what documentation that's being done, the whole thing is at the end of the day, if you're not checking it and then it's being sent out there, whether it's a clause or whether it's
Yep.
a statement, you're going to be caught. And again, whether
100%. The
you're
buck stops with you. Yeah.
whatever, yeah, because pretty much every province and territory that we have out there in Canada, we have laws about fiduciary. And the whole thing is that trying to get um, these boards to recognize and these like the RICOs of our provinces for
Yep.
Ontario, we have to understand they have to start putting regulations in with this technology. And crazy enough, there isn't any regulation.
Okay.
So where does that fall? It falls onto the brokerage and it falls down to the realtor as well. So at the end of the day, review, edit, and
Yes.
humanize the
Now,
technology. Check it out.
I would say though, I mean, the one thing that you had mentioned, so even though I use Claude, I have a subscription. It's 1 month at a time, which is
Yes.
something you mentioned. And why? So let's just go into that really quickly. So when you shared with us, why should we not get a 1 year subscription versus a 1 month subscription?
Okay, so it goes back to my wife, who reminds me the first subscription I ever got was to a system called Jasper. And what it was is that it was about 3 years ago before the release of ChatGPT 3.5.
Okay.
I was so excited. I was consulting with the company. I was just over the moon because it was producing my newsletters, it was producing my property descriptions, it was creating my social media captions. And I thought this, you know what, nothing is going to beat this, right? So I bought the 1 year subscription was $1,600, okay, for the year, okay. So guess what? 3 months later, guess what? ChatGPT 3.5 is released, and it
Yeah.
was like insurmountable, so much better, and it
Yeah.
was only $20 US per month. And so what it comes down to is because artificial intelligence is moving so fast right now. So 5 years ago, AI was doubling every 2 years.
Yeah.
Now AI in intelligence, uh, in the ability of what it's doing, is doubling every 120 days.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is wherever you invest in, that hopefully that company is building out the next model, the next model. And if they're not, what's going to happen is if you do a 1 year subscription, the whole thing is that 3 months from now, that AI system that you've put a 1 year subscription to is completely, no, I wouldn't say useless, but it's not going to be any better than the one that's the other AI system that's
Yeah.
being reinventing and basically being built out. So that's why, and
You're
that's why
basically being left behind, right? Like,
yeah. But you think about it this way. You take a look at this technology, and I was just having this conversation with another realtor this morning. I was saying to them, and he says, this is like having an Einstein in your pocket, right? For $20 US a month. And you think about this, that at the time of this recording, what's interesting, we're expecting ChatGPT 5 to be released in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And the feedback from some of the people that are using it currently, whether it's in beta test or within OpenAI, they're saying it's smarter than any other human on Earth, right? So now that's a powerful statement when
that
you
is a
think,
powerful statement.
and so and let's go back to I want to mention this as well. A lot of us are using these AI systems like Google. Okay. And I like what you said, Crystal. You have to kind of reframe your mind and treat
Yeah.
it like as if it's your personal assistant that's going to
Yeah.
assist you in building out that property description that you don't like to do. The whole thing is that $20 US a month, you're getting basically a very, very powerful assistant that's going to assist you
100%.
in
Yeah.
negotiation.
I think I
And
pay like $28 for Claude.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Canadian.
like Canadian, yes, exactly. And so, you know, I made a statement the other day, and the statement was, imagine this. We basically, the future is not the power of knowledge. It's going to be the power of asking the right questions to these AI systems, right?
Actually, can you actually, sorry to cut you off, but this is actually really important. The reason I am having so much success with this system, and I want to share a couple of things that colleagues have shared with me too in a minute.
Please.
But one of the reasons I'm having success is that I took copious, like embarrassing nerd level notes at your presentation. And it was the prompts that you gave us. And what really stuck with me is that it was like you just had to, like, you're guiding this machine, like this intelligent machine, but you're guiding it. And it was, I want you to act as if you are an
Perfect.
editor, you are a real estate coach, you are whatever it is. And it's very interesting.
Yes, because there is components. Because what it is that it's if you put garbage in, it's going to have garbage out. And what's going to happen is that all of us are going to have to be upskilled in how to communicate with it to get the for the best output, right? And one of the big things is that um, there's this new system that was released in the last couple of weeks. It's called Agent Mode. And what
Okay.
Agent Mode is basically, it goes onto your browser. It opens up your browser. It goes into your systems. So let's say, for example, so I was actually with my wife, who's a realtor as well. We were out showing properties, and the whole thing is that she was off with the clients and talking with the clients about the property. Now, I wasn't versed in what about the property. All I did was I opened up my app and I said, "Okay, I'm here at 237 Steele Street here in Barrie, Ontario. Can you give me the kind of this Coles notes about this property?" And as I was walking around the property, it looks like it has two fireplaces. Can you check to see if it has two fireplaces? Yes, it has two fireplaces. Can you just check? It looks like the roof, the shingles has been done in the last 5 years. Yes, the shingles were done in the last 2 years.
And are
And
you like sure? Are you like with
talking,
the camera or are you just asking it?
I'm just talking with it. No, I was taking pictures of the house as well, right?
Okay.
And you tell me, the whole thing is we know what AI, okay, so a lot of us that are on Treb,
Yeah.
when the AI checks the photo and creates a description for the photo, be very careful because a lot of times it'll say wood flooring when it's laminate, and we saw the fines. You can get huge, massive fines if you make that mistake, right? By misrepresenting the property itself.
I didn't
But
even
yes,
notice that.
yeah. So the other thing is that when we're going around a house or a commercial building and stuff like that, I we literally just take photos again without breaking any privacy laws. What we do is we upload the photos and we ask, "What is this?" And what it does is it tells us what it is, what we're looking at. Oh, it's a sub pump. And I'm like, "What? I've
Nice.
never seen this type of sub pump before." And the other thing was the first time I ever used the image, when it captures the image and you upload it into these AI systems, I still remember when it looked at the hot water tank, it gave me the information about the company and about the rental contract, and it
Oh,
also sent me the link of the PDF on how to cancel the contract, right? So it's limitless, right? With this
that's
types of
great for buyers, and that's probably not great for the water company.
No, no, it isn't. And let's go a little bit further down this rabbit hole with the image. What's another nice thing about it is you can literally walk into a room without breaking privacy laws, and you got permission. What we can do is we can take pictures of each room,
Yeah.
upload those images, and say, okay, I want you to give some advice to me for advice that I can give to my client for properly staging the room, right? And it will do it. It'll act as a stager, and it will go in,
Now,
change.
is that with ChatGPT? Is that with agent mode? Because I know Claude doesn't do that for me anyway.
So that's ChatGPT. So
Okay.
okay, because ChatGPT is now the other thing is that you can because you just go in and says, I want you to act as a real estate stager. I want you to look at the following photos and give advice on how to improve on how to stage the property. It'll say, well, you change the take depersonalize it, take the photos off the wall, or move the couch, or uh, use blinds, use certain blinds. So it will do that. It's pretty amazing that way and
Yeah.
what it can do.
That's cool. I love that. And it's very practical because the thing is, like, the one thing that none of us have extra of is extra time. So if there's a way
True.
that you can save time and really like, because as you do it, you're going to get used to it too, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a new agent and you don't know how to stage a house, or if you're like me and you have enough ideas, but you also show a lot of buyers homes too. So I'm a 50-50. So I'm just like, well, this is great. I'm like, you can change it, but you could also leave it. Like I get how much work that is.
It is, and I actually have built out, so I don't want to get too complex with it because this technology is not that complex. So what I actually do is so a lot of people don't know with your subscription with ChatGPT, you can build out individual GPT systems. What does that mean, Ron? So what does that mean is that you can build out a specific AI system for specific things. So as an example, I have an individual GPT system for my for RICO clauses, RIA clauses.
Korea
So
program.
when I'm looking for an RIA clause, all I do is I click on my GPT for RIA clauses in my system, and I say, okay, I'm looking for these. I'm looking for all the clauses that would be applied to a real property, residential, property, and what it does is it pulls it up. Or I'm looking for that one-off clause about removal of debris or mechanical equipment from the yard without
Now, does it
environmental.
pull it from the site? Does it pull it from your past clauses, your office clauses? Where is it getting the clauses?
It's actually getting it from the, so what I do is when I build out the individual GPT system, all I do
Yeah.
is I go over to the aria.com website, grab the PDF of all the hundreds of clauses. It's a PDF, you
Okay.
download it and upload it into
Yes.
the GPT. And that's all it knows. All it knows is the ARIA clauses in there. And you can do that for forms. A lot of the brokerages that I've been working with is
Yeah.
building out what we call MLS checkers. So the big thing is that if you're a realtor and you go on MLS and you look at 10 listings that's on the MLS system, usually about 50% of the MLS listings have mistakes in them, right?
Right.
So a lot of the brokerages to mitigate fines both to the brokerage and to the agents before it goes
Yeah.
live on the MLS, I've helped them build out basically the rules, the policies in regards to what has to happen or what
Nice.
has to be within each of the check boxes of the MLS before it goes live. So a lot of the administrative staff, what they'll do is they're the ones that I've built it out for. And so the agent sends the listing over to them, that we upload it into the MLS checker, and then it
Nice.
goes through and says, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then the agent goes back to fix it.
I would say so. It sounds like the building out the GPT systems might be something someone can reach out to you directly about after.
Correct.
You're gonna stay,
Yes.
you're gonna stay hot, like kind of very top level here,
Yes.
or surface level, anyways, because we don't have 17 hours.
No, no, I know.
No, no, but it's amazing. I feel like I want to learn more too, but just to make sure that we're all on the same page, um, things are moving very quickly. What I do find is, so I mentioned my colleagues. So I do a lot of work with Buffini. I'm
Excellent.
coaching. I'm a group leader. All of this, and so we share ideas. And someone had mentioned if you put in kind of either your core values or the results of any personality test with Buffini, it's your real strengths profile now, and or you could do a disc test or whatever you want. Put it in there. Just say, I want you to act as a real estate coach or a coach. I'm trying to build out a morning routine. I'm looking for journal prompts. I'm looking for a workout, whatever it is. You just put in the details that you need it to know, shove it in there, and like instantly you have a program designed for you.
Yes.
You can edit and change.
Correct.
It's amazing. It's
So, yeah, and one of the great things about that is that once you create that conversation, or we call them chats in these AI
yeah,
systems. So let's say, for example, 7 days from now,
right.
you're working on a deal and you've been going back and forth with the negotiations. What you can do is, because then you're probably asking me, why would you be using AI for negotiations? Because a lot of times what ends up happening is when we're trying to negotiate on the other side, sometimes we get stumped on what to say to the other side. So what we do is we go in and I said, I want you to act as a real estate negotiator. I want you to be formal and firm with the output. And what I want you to, here's the scenario. What's happening is the house was listed at 999. They dropped it by about 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. We've gone in at 950, which is basically $100,000 difference compared to what the price was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Give us, and they've rebutted back at 975, and now create three different scripts for us what to say to our buying clients, because we know now that 975 is the fair market value for the property. So it puts out three outputs that are basically explaining,
Nice.
because remember, when you're doing short form outputs like scripts or social
Yeah.
media, that's all short form, not newsletters. But what I always do, create three outputs all the time, right? And
Yeah.
then let you as a human use general human reasoning to figure out which
Which
script
is
or
the
which
one?
caption
Yeah.
you want to use, right?
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
right? And I love doing that all the time because the whole thing is I never even thought of that, right? About that. I would say that. And then what you can do is you can also turn on the voice mode, because a lot of people don't know ChatGPT has the voice mode. Turn that on and say, let's role play. I have to call my buying clients about this counter offer. Let's role play in using this script, uh, and you have to act as a buyer, and I have to act as the realtor
Will it
here.
talk to you?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah.
Like
And
in
my
the voice?
yes, yeah. Actually, this morning, what we were doing. Yeah, so this morning we were actually doing listing presentations with it. So we were getting, yeah, so we were doing listing presentations to it, and we were getting it to rate us and how to improve it. So it will listen to us for,
Okay,
10.
that's awesome. I
Yeah.
know that I knew you could put your voice in and it could like read your stuff and give it back to you. I didn't know it would do a voice back. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm a real estate trainer as well. So one of the big things is that when I'm asking agents to role play, to go out in the hallway to talk to the other agent about scripts or listing presentations and stuff like that, one of
Yeah.
the biggest pet peeves of mine is I come out and I'm listening. I come up behind the agents talking, and they're talking about their pizza that they made last evening, right? And the whole thing is when it comes to AI, the whole thing is that you can literally say, tell the students or the agents, now I want you to role play with your AI assistant, right? And they can, or your AI coach, and then what it will do. Now, don't get me wrong, I will tell you 100%. AI coaches and AI trainers are invaluable. AI coaches are even more valuable, I personally think, because they get you to go that way
Yeah.
with the business, right? So that's another thing that you have to kind of think about is that you can role play with this technology, and it will rate you and grade you and coach you on how to improve even your intonation, what words
Right.
to leave out or add in as well.
And that's, yeah, no, I love that a lot. I actually used Claude. I had to have a difficult conversation with someone, and I knew that. So have you ever done the disc test?
Oh yes, I used to
Okay,
teach
so
it. Yeah,
oh, nice. Okay, so I'm
yeah,
an ID, which means I'm
yeah,
super social, but I also, for those that don't know, I is very like social, bubbly. D is like your dominant, get it done. S is very kind of your steady, your helper, and C is like your numbers person. And I had to have this conversation with a CD.
yeah.
Um, and so I knew that if I just said my piece, it would not go well. So I wrote it exactly the way I speak, the way I talk the way I write the way I speak. So I wrote exactly how I was feeling, exactly the outcome, and I shoved it in. I'm like, I need this. I need you to act as I always say real estate coach, so I can use more. But I
Yeah.
said, like, um, I need this to sound very factual, very formal. I need to take the emotion out of it. I need to sound respectful. Um, and this is what I'm trying to get across. And then it just changed, and I was able to review it, edit it. I sent it off, not even offended. Like,
Mhm.
thank you for letting me know.
And it's
It
so
was
powerful.
amazing.
Yeah. And it's interesting ever since I got into real estate, how like I encourage everybody to do disc training or any
Yes.
psychological training to
Oh,
understand
yes.
the other side. So what I've been doing using AI and disc, and if you're so I was working with another agent who has a very powerful electronic footprint out there, social media, websites, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things I did was I went into ChatGPT and I asked AI to basically do a profile on this particular agent, gave it a bunch of information, and I hit this button in ChatGPT. It's called deep research. So what deep research does, it actually goes in and searches the internet up for this person. And it gave me a profile back. And then I interacted with the output and saying, okay, how should I ask questions? What type of personality is this? Are they direct or indirect, passive? And it gave me all this information before I reached out to the agent that I have never connected with, right? So the whole thing is that, like, don't get me wrong, our life on the internet can be totally different from our real world too, right? So we have to put that into
Right.
context, you know,
But
but
still,
it's
that's a really cool time-saving feature because you can sift through that after.
yes, exactly. And it gives you a step ahead of for yourself because
Yeah.
instead of getting on that call or meeting face to face, trying to figure out now what type of person is this? So, which
Mm.
is really important. But I want to go into another story I was doing this morning. It was a lot of fun. So there's a
Yeah.
company called one of the big things is that there's a company called Suno, SUNO. And one of the
Okay.
things, because we're practicing listing presentations this morning, I told them that you can basically take your property description. So, what is Suna? Suna is an AI music creator. And you're like, music, real estate, how does that come together? Well, I'll tell you. So, what you do is you take the property description and you drop the property description into ChatGPT and say, what I want you to do is I want you to create a country song, a pop song, a rap song, whatever you want to do. And what it will do is we'll take the property description, turn the lyrics into a country song. Then you take the lyrics of the country song, bring it over to Suna, and usually takes about 10 seconds and 2 cents a song, it will create you country songs for that property. So you can use that in your social media. You can use that for
And it's
your
not
video.
copyrighted because you just bought it.
Exactly, exactly. And the whole thing is that and you can do it up to 1,200 different genres of music. And again, I buy a subscription to it every single month, $10 at 2 cents a piece.
$10.
Yeah,
That's pretty
and
good.
and don't get me wrong, because I know there's a lot of people who this is going to destroy the music industry. Trust me, I'm a Swiftie. Okay, so when it comes to Taylor Swift, I still love her. I'm still going to pay that $600 ticket to go and see
Yeah.
her concert. Right. The whole thing is that when
You
I
got
go
a
to the
discounted ticket.
yeah, exactly. Right. So the whole thing is at the end of the day, this music can be used in many different ways with it.
Yeah.
Even our listing presentations, what we do now is we get the information. So in our listing presentations, what we do is we get a couple of photos of the property. We don't grab it from the MLS system because you're breaking copyright laws. But
Okay,
what we do
it's your
is
own.
we use our own. We tell the clients, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you don't mind, what we're going to do before our listing presentation, the day before, what we're going to do is we're just going to come around the house. You don't have to come out. We're just going to take a couple of photos. And what we do is we take those photos back and we turn the photos and we take the music about their property because they've told us about they lived there for 20 years growing up with their kids. They had, family reunions and all these memorable moments. And we combine the music that it's created to the video. And it literally takes only about 2 to 3 minutes to do. And
That's fantastic.
I will tell you, it separates you from the rest right away. They go, I have never seen anything. And what we say is that's the type of marketing we are doing today to bring buyer clients in.
Oh, that is, you know what? That is so cool. So it's called SUNO, Suno.
SUNO, yeah. It's so much fun.
Um, and basically, so you use that by like you don't need ChatGPT for it. It's by itself.
Well, you can basically drop in the property description and it'll create a song just from the property description. It sounds a bit weird, but it actually sounds really good when in the like it on the outputs. It's just so much fun with when you do it. And the other thing is that when I go to the gym, guess what? I'm listening to the music I create now. And I know that sounds terrible. It's not going to
That's
destroy the
so
music
fun.
industry. Yeah.
Why not?
It's well, now let's take this a little bit further. So let's take a look at this. There's an AI system called Gamma.app.
Yes, I
Gamma.app.
think
So
you talked about Gamma last
yes.
year.
So what we do now is over 80% of agents out there do not have a listing presentation. So number
Okay.
one, if you want to get ahead when you're going to a listing presentation, get a listing presentation done. Okay. Number two, what we do now is that we have a baseline listing presentation of all of our services and stuff like that. But what we do with Gamma app is basically it will create a listing presentation for you. But what we do is we drop our listing presentation in, but at the beginning of the listing presentation, we personalize it to the client itself. So right at the beginning, it says, welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Smith of 237 Still Street. And then why this is a good fit between you and us, right? And it lists off all the core values of
Okay.
who they are and what we are. Now, the whole thing is, I know there's a lot of listeners on this podcast, and I know 80 to 90% of your business is referrals. I get that. But
Yes.
the whole thing is that it's still important because we have a race to zero for commissions in and around the GTA, and it's
Yeah.
important to show your value.
So your
It-
value.
and it's
Do
important
those
to do that.
referrals, right? Yeah. So once you have the referral, that's just step one. You still have to
exactly.
establish that you're the right one for the job and do a great job for them.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Gamma app is it's called free. It is a freemium service. So go and test it out because it is free to a point, but go
Okay.
and have a little bit of fun with it.
What did
And
you call it? Freemium?
freemium, yeah. So
Premium,
it is
that's fun.
free,
Look at all the
but it's
words we're
also
learning, guys.
yeah.
Freemium.
So
Okay.
it's again up your game with this AI
Yeah.
technology. And it's interesting working with you, Crystal, and working with so many other agents that have listened to me and have really adapted, like really
Yeah.
started to reframe your mind in
Yes.
using AI. It will change the way you do business from negotiations to, you know, keeping the commission that you should be keeping.
Yeah.
Now, the one big thing that I keep on getting questions asked is about lead generation. Now,
Okay.
so if I used to run I used to run a brokerage, okay? I have been pitched to about electronic lead generation for the past decade. Now, the challenge with this is that electronic lead generation is not that great, okay? We know that, but is it going to get better? Is it going to get more precise? Yes. But have I seen great products out there with AI lead generation? I am, but I just want everybody to know the best way to build your business is getting in front of people and building trust and likability and
Yeah.
being,
It's your
and that's,
sphere. Yeah, it's your relationships. Absolutely.
yeah. Now, the whole thing is that, as Brian Buffini says,
Yep.
top of mind is critical, right?
Yep.
So one of the things is that will AI put out social media content, your newsletters, your podcast, because it'll create podcasts now. It will do that for you now. That will keep you in the loop with the clients so your clients know that you're still alive, that you're still in real
Yeah.
estate. Because 72% of clients, why they haven't worked with you or didn't go with you on their next transaction because they didn't know if you were still in the business or even alive,
Yeah.
right? So that's important to understand as well. So now let's talk about CRMs because oh my, when I get off stage, this is one of the biggest questions I get asked, right? So if you probably, I know a lot of you, I always say this to everyone when it comes to CRMs. What is the best CRM in the world? Well, it's
The
the
one you're going
CRM
to use,
use,
right? Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is that there's a lot of new AI developments in the CRM world. Now, the thing that I'm really kind of worried about right now, uh, just before this, I had a luncheon meeting, and this person is building out a CRM. Last night at 3 o'clock, I had a meeting with another person in real estate building a CRM. Tomorrow,
Okay.
I have another person that I have a meeting with that they're building out a CRM with AI. So whatever you
And
do,
sorry, just to clarify what you're saying. So you're saying they're pardon me, creating a
mm,
CRM using AI, a new one. Okay. Three different
just
people.
yeah, and
Okay.
that's just this week. I usually get contacted by about 3 to 5 different companies about building that have CRM systems that are also being used AIs or in the back end, so it
Okay.
helps the agent itself. Now, the
Okay.
whole thing is that the advancements are going so quick, so fast. Whatever you do, do not sign a 1 year contract with them because these CRMs are going to come out huge. I know Follow Up Boss and Constant Contact and stuff, which are all amazing,
And
but
RLP Skier and Buffini
yeah,
CRM.
yes. So just hold
Yeah.
on. We'll see what's going to happen, what's going to come out of it. And I always look at the psychology of agents on the use of
Yeah.
technology. Majority of agents, we're inundated with technology all the time,
That's
right?
actually one thing I was about to ask you about. Sorry to cut you off.
That's right.
One thing, like as we're going through all these things, because I do remember struggling after your presentation, which was fantastic. And we're getting you back again for our kickoff this year, I just heard. So I'm very excited.
Thank you.
But in going through, I think I had downloaded Claude and Gamma and another one. And then at one point I was like, I am not an AI technician. I'm a realtor. So I really I feel like simple sometimes is better. Like pick one that you
Yes.
will use, but you're not transitioning your business from being a realtor to all of a sudden being an IT professional, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you will get inundated. So just take it one step at a time, maybe.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that the first thing is adoption to it. Play around with it. That's the first thing. And remember, learning an MLS system is way more complex than learning AI because all AI is, and I hate saying this, is like speaking to a human,
Yeah.
right? That's all you're doing. It's you're not, yes, there
A
is a certain
really
form.
fast human.
Exactly. And the big thing is that the more you play around with it, the more you start to reframe your mind that this is
Yeah.
not a Google system, this is not a search engine, but literally a system that will basically do things for you.
Yeah.
So as an example, I was wanting to watch this Tom Ferry coaching video yesterday and didn't have like I didn't have an hour. So what I did was I went over to Gemini. So Gemini, if you don't know
Gemini is
what
the other one. Yes.
yes, Gemini is actually owned by Google. They have created it. It's free for the regular version. So what other company does Google own? Well, it's YouTube. And with
Yes.
YouTube, there's over 4 billion videos on YouTube. And it's the Gemini system is actually being trained on these YouTube videos. So what I did yesterday, love Tom Ferry. I wanted to watch it, but didn't have enough time. So I basically took the URL of the YouTube video of Tom Ferry, put it inside of Gemini. I said, I want you to watch the following YouTube video, and I want you to summarize it. And then also, what I want you to do is I want you to give me timestamps of things that I should be listening to in this video. So what it did was summarized it, and then it gave me timestamps of where I should watch the video for at 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I clicked
Nice.
I clicked on it and it took me to that part of the video.
It's a link? Oh, that's
It's a
cool.
link.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. And the other one, and I'm going to show this at your kickoff at your brokerage,
I will
is
act surprised.
yeah, yeah. So one of the things is that yesterday was again the top five CRMs for 2025, right?
Okay.
So there were some CRMs I never seen before. So what I did was I want you to watch this video, told us to Gemini.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want you to give me the tell me the links or don't tell me about the product itself. Just give me the URL to the website of the CRM. So what it did was it watched the
Okay.
video, then it went out onto the internet, found the URLs of the five CRMs, and then
Nice.
sent it to me, and it was a link. So I just clicked on it and it took me over to there.
Okay. That's really cool. Um, I do want to share one thing, and I think it's very important, guys. Like if you're using this stuff and it's not giving you the results you want, it really is like not in a mean way, but like it's it's your own fault. Um,
Yeah.
only because you're not learning like the prompts. So I was really busy, lazy. I was really busy, but I had to create a meeting agenda for my team. I shoved the last meeting agenda in, as well as my weekly update that I sent to my coach. And I said, create an agenda for today. Here's the day. And no direction, like nothing. I got an agenda that was so like all of a sudden like Claude was taking liberties. Like in my success section, one of my
Yeah.
successes was using AI to create an agenda.
That's cute.
I was like, okay, little pat on the back. But I was like, it's really important. It's only as good as the prompts.
Yes, it is.
Now, one thing I want to ask, because you'll know this, because you know all the
Mhm.
things. So Claude tells me, because I know you're saying like sometimes ChatGPT might have a memory. Claude tells me he does not have a memory. So every
Correct.
chat is it's a new day. So
Yes.
is that the safety feature you're talking about?
No, it's not so much the safety feature. It just hasn't been built into it. Now, there
Okay.
it could be because Anthropic is a very safety
Right.
oriented and I haven't read their licensing agreement, and it could state in there is that the reason why we don't hold on to the chat or the conversation is because that means we could be training on the conversation. You're
Right.
using our AI assistant to train on the conversation itself.
Right.
It could be that situation. Um, but it's certainly I prefer to have that memory because I can go back 7, 8 days, 9 days
Yeah.
from a chat that I had, so I don't have to kind of remind about what's happened.
Sure.
So here's another kind of offshoot example of this. So my stepdaughter just had a grandchild, our first grandchild, And so she
Oh,
had some, yeah. So she had
congrats.
some complications. And one of the things is that this is so incredible, right? So she
Was
had the
it
initial,
complications?
yeah,
Oh
and
dear.
and
Okay.
and so what had ended up happening? She was recording it, our stepdaughter, and she was sending the information over. Can you send it into ChatGPT? Now, there was no name to it. There's no personal information
Right.
about. It was just the metrics of the medical results. And then, unfortunately, she had a relapse, and she went back into the hospital the other day. And she goes, "Can you send it over? And can you? Here's my medical results. Can you kind
Yeah.
of update our system or update the chat conversation and send me a report of what I should be asking my doctor?" And
Yeah.
again,
What's going on?
so what it did was it literally created a 28-page report on not only the questions, vitamins, nutritions, what you're going to have to do over the next 14 days to really build up your immune system, et cetera, et cetera. And so she was talking to the doctor, and the doctor goes, "Where are you getting this information from? Because you've literally just been, you just got this." And she goes, "Oh, I'm using AI." And he goes, "Oh my God." He was so shocked.
Yeah.
He says, "That's the future." He
I
says,
had a
"Good
very
for
similar
you."
conversation with a lawyer recently about condo
Yeah,
documents. I put the condo documents in just because not instead, and I mean the lawyer was reviewing them, but I just had some questions and there's so many and I had 20 minutes. So I
yeah,
shoved it in and I said, "Okay, here are my questions. Can you like outline like where does it say this? Where does it say this? What is this?" And I brought it
yeah,
up to him and he's like, "That's amazing. Also very scary, but also amazing."
yeah. It's interesting. My team right now is actually sitting down with my buying clients who are buying a new build. And what it was is that it's a 23-page document on when on the new build and on
Yeah.
Terry on and all that information
Yeah.
about doing a new build. And so the team last night said, "Hey, can you put this through ChatGPT?" And now I have an enterprise system, so don't worry. That's uh, another thing for another day. But what I did was, can you take this document and bring it down to plain English, right?
Yeah.
So it basically built out. It took this 20 some page document down to 6 pages, but each section was broken down in plain
Perfect.
English to explain to the
Understood.
client. My
That
team was
is
so
so
happy about
good.
that. Yeah.
That is so good. And then just on a final note, I found I was having a problem with an interaction with some clients. Not a problem, but there was just I was just really trying to figure something out. So I put in all of our correspondence
Mhm.
and got advice on some options to go forward. And it was just whether it's medical, whether it's now, obviously there's always something that says like not a replacement for a doctor, not a
Yeah.
replacement for a
Disclaimer.
lawyer, like that human touch is important, but it really like just goes through the information quickly and it can not just identify the issues, but also make it easier for us to understand, which is huge.
Yes. Yeah, and I just want to put a disclaimer to this, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, right now, AI, when I first started using AI back in 2020, when I was beta testing it, it hallucinated all the time. It does. So, what is hallucination? It's basically you go to ask it a question, it totally makes something up, right? And a really good example of it was when I was getting it to create newsletters back in 2022. I would ask it a question. I'd ask it to create a newsletter targeting downsizers. And Krystal, you remember this conversation that I had on stage. That what it does is I want you to create a 700 word newsletter targeting downsizers. The
Yes.
first 500 words, wow, it was spot on. That's when in 2022 I knew it was going somewhere. But the first 500 words were great, but the last 200 words, guess what? It would hallucinate, and it would start talking about how much it loves chocolate ice cream. you know but the whole thing is that from 2020, when it hallucinated all the time, to 2022, where it was hallucinating significantly
It's
less,
less.
to
Yeah.
today, my 9-year-old nephew hallucinates more than ChatGPT,
Well,
right?
that's
So at
good.
the end, so there's two other things I want to talk about before we head off here today, and I'm going to give you a real important prompt. It's going to change. Krystal,
Okay.
you're going to be
Okay.
amazed when he says. So number one, at the end of the day, review, edit, humanize any output. Always
Yes.
realize. Now, this is going to change the way you prompt.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm excited. Okay. Get your pen
So
down,
this
guys.
this is the super prompt. Okay. So what it is you create the normal standard prompt. It says, I want you to act as a real estate negotiator. I want you to
Okay.
create the outputs to be firm and professional. Here's the situation. That's your typical standard prompt, three
Okay.
steps to it. So, but before you actually create your prompt, just put this simple prompt in.
Okay.
I want you to act as a super prompt engineer and take the following prompt and make it 10 times better. Then put your
Ooh.
prompt in. What it does, it basically takes your prompt and super energizes it. It's like a prompt on steroids. I will tell you that has changed the way I prompt
So I want you to
for
act as a super prompt
super prompt
engineer
engineer
and
and make my following prompt 10 times better. And what it does,
wow,
because who is the best prompt engineer in the world?
AI.
AI, right? And so that has changed the way my business, the way
Oh,
I
that's
prompt,
so cool. Okay.
everything.
It's
And it's
amazing.
so yeah, it's an amazing journey. Just remember, we have a fiduciary duty in the real estate field or
Yes.
whatever field that we're in using this technology. But the whole thing is that um, I'm surprised that I'm only one of the very few that is in specifically in real estate and AI right now and teaching about it. All of us need, we all need to upskilling with this
Yeah.
technology. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My website is AI Intelligence Solutions with an S at the end, AI Intelligence Solutions.ca. And the whole
Perfect.
thing is that I hate when people try to sell me things because I was running brokerages for years. The whole thing
Yeah.
is I just want to help as many people out there as possible in building their business and using
100%.
AI in an ethical and moral way.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ron. And then if someone wants to reach out to you directly, just through your website, or is email better?
Yeah, you can either way. You can reach me at Ron at AI Intelligent Solutions with an S at the end .ca as well.
Perfect.
And but I'm also a person, so don't worry. You can always pick me up, pick up the phone, give me a call at 705-970-3455. I personally, I'm a person to person,
Yeah,
so don't hesitate to give me a call. And remember, I always say this, there is no stupid question when it comes to answering questions about AI because this is all new
amazing.
to us. And remember,
Amazing.
I'm still a student to this.
Ah, I love this. Okay, so we will put all of your contact info in the show notes. Thank you so much, Ron, for this
My pleasure. Thank
wonderful
you.
conversation. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Krystal Lee Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore, and thank you, Ron O'Neill, for having a great AI chat today. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye bye.